Okay, stand by. All right, can people hear me? Can everyone hear me? Yeah, okay, everyone can hear me. Guys, welcome. Oh my God, this is insane. Welcome to Cornell, pun intended, presents Global Pundemic, which was really intelligently named. And I think it was probably the club name really helped us out with that because the club is called Pun Intended, so it was just kind of a gimme. I'm so excited you guys are all here. This is insane. We have over 140 people on the Zoom call. I'm hoping Zoom doesn't crash through this. I'm gonna ask everyone real quick right now to just mute your mics.
Stand up like this.
For that reason, while I just like give a quick intro before we start the show. So everyone just mute your mics while you're coming in. Okay.
Let's just look at them.
So we have a few just rules before we start the show because it's Zoom and like things suck here. So one, if you guys can turn your camera on so we can see you guys because like, you know, we just want to see like you guys are laughing and like, you know, we need the external validation. So please turn your cameras on. Like again, we really crave validation and we need it. And it's our lifeblood. So do that. If possible. Also, here's the thing. So we'd love to hear you guys laugh if you think anything we say is remotely funny. However, so I would say turn your mic on unless you have external noise going on. This is like the most important thing in the entire show. If you have external noise, you have to turn your mic off until the noise passes. But keep your mic on so we can hear your laughter. Otherwise, like if you have all the noise on in the background, we're just going to go in and mute you, which is a kind of a power trip. It's kind of cool. You can clap, react, you can laugh. And if you think your computer's causing an echo, if you think you have any kind of issues on your end, just mute yourself. It'll be so much easier for everyone performing. And the other thing I'm going to say is don't heckle the comics. It's like a Zoom show. We're just like trying to get by. Like it's 2020. Please just give us this. Don't heckle the comics. We're just here for a good time. And the other rule is don't DM the comics while they're performing. You can DM them privately. I like specifically made it so that you guys, this is like a very open Zoom call, but don't DM them while they're performing. You can comment in the chat if you like the joke that they said, like during their set to everyone, but don't DM them privately while they're performing because we don't want them to be distracted. I realized I completely forgot to introduce myself. I'm Skyler Holzman. I'm a junior at Cornell. I'm the president of Pun Intended. And I think I'm going to start us off with some jokes. So if you guys want, feel free to unmute yourselves right now. This is the time so I can hear if you think anything I say is funny. If not, I've run it by the comics performing tonight, and they think it's funny, so it doesn't matter to me what you guys think. All right, let's get this going. Okay, guys, it's been a tough year. It's 2020. It's been a tough year. And, you know, I got to say the Supreme Court right now is just absolutely ruthless.
Oh, no. Oh, man.
Yeah, I like to let that one sink in a little bit. So recently I've been thinking a lot about middle school because I'm off my meds. And I used to play this game in middle school on this website called freerice.com. It was called freerice.com. And the concept of freerice.com is you answer these math questions, and if you get a correct answer, Free Rice sends like 10 grains of rice to like a starving kid in Africa. Okay, that's the concept of this website. It's a good concept at its baseline, but the problem is these math questions were so like unbelievably easy that kids in my grade would just like fuck around and they'd be like, oh yeah, 2 + 3 is toenail. Like, haha, no rice for you. And so it just made no sense. So I was doing a little bit of thinking on it, and I'm honestly thinking a better strategy for that would be if you get like an incorrect answer, you take away 10 grains of rice from the kid. Like 5 divided by 5 is Pikachu. Yeah, you think that's funny? Well, Kwame is starving tonight. Yeah. So I enjoyed math. But I am right now an English major. Thank you. I'm so brave. And I signed up for Indeed.com job updates recently, which is probably very relatable to anyone who has no career prospects like me. And I signed up for Indeed.com job updates. I got an email recently, And the subject heading was 10 new jobs for English majors. I was like, oh my God, this is like a literal once in a lifetime opportunity. So I opened the email, and the body of the email said, yeah, okay. Yeah. You guys, do you guys remember Carol Baskin? By any chance, Carol Baskin from the hit TV series Tiger King from back in quarantine, the one who's like a murderer but never admitted to it. I heard recently that they were gonna put her on Dancing with the Stars. That they were gonna put Carol Baskin on Dancing with the Stars. I'm kind of just wondering what's next. Like, what are we gonna have, like OJ on Chopped? Like, what he probably just end up like butchering the recipe, or like all of the contestants. I don't know. So weird. I've also been watching The Bachelorette recently a lot, and because they've done such a good job this year with diversity. They've become a lot more diverse. Like The Bachelorette in the past used to be just a bunch of like, buff white guys. But this year, finally, they have like a few skinny white guys. And it's been so great to have like my demographic represented. And I guarantee you that would make more sense if you saw my entire body. So I've been home from school for about a week now. I think a lot of other people have as well. And, I went up to my room. I saw all the participation trophies that I have from Little League, which I keep for sentimental value, right? The problem is every time a girl comes into my room, every girl that's been up there, she's been like, oh my, these trophies, this is just so embarrassing. This is like the least sexy thing I've ever seen. You should just throw them out immediately. And I'm always just like, all right, fine, Mom. Yeah. No, my mom was great. She's on the call. My mom's great. I love my mom. But I can tell she definitely does not trust me at all. Like, in first grade, she told me that Santa wasn't real. But I'm Jewish, so like, doesn't matter. So the next day after she told me, I went into first grade in school, and I told like literally everyone that my mom was a raging alcoholic. It was so funny. So it was interesting. My parents, they also don't trust me. Last week, they got mad at me. This is true. They found my fake ID. My parents found my fake ID when they came home, and they yelled at me because they were upset. They yelled at me because I lied about my height. They were like, well, like, you're 5'10", like, what are you doing? And I was like, first of all, it's so much cooler if I'm 6'2". Also, let's just get it out there. What guy has not lied about inches in like any direction? So, yeah, so again, I've been home. I have a girlfriend. I've been trying to figure out how to see her safely. So my girlfriend has been great. My girlfriend is a communist. This is completely true. My girlfriend is a communist, and we've been dating for a bit. But before we started dating, she asked me. She said, "Yeah, hey, like if we start dating, can we be exclusive?" And I was like, "I thought you hated privatized property." Yeah, it was weird. So I like to end my sets. I like to end shows with this segment. This segment I call things that have never been said about Judaism. So you guys have to bear with me on this one. This is the segment is called "Things That Have Never Been Said About Judaism." All right. Wow, this holiday makes perfect sense. All right, that's it for me. Thank you guys so much. You guys have been a phenomenal audience. And we have a phenomenal show for you guys tonight. I swear to God, this show is going to be incredible. All 155 of you guys. This is like uncalled for. So I will introduce our next comic, and I'll also put my Instagram and Twitter handle in the chat, but it's also in my name. It's at Crotonsky. If you like anything you heard, so you guys can go follow me there. But all right, let me just pull up our clock. All right, next comic. This next comedian is hailing from Fairfield, Connecticut. He recently got into astrology and thought his horoscope said to shave off his hair, but it turns out he's a Leo and not Cancer. Please welcome Jayson Figueroa.
Hi, thank you very much. Anyway, if this is your first time watching Zoom stand-up, I hope you enjoy. It's good on you for trying something new. Can always be, a little weird trying something new. Can also be, very fun. I found that out earlier today because I never thought I'd have 100 PSI of lukewarm water shot up my butthole. But sometimes you have to decide, today's the bidet. Thanks. There's a lot you actually can't tell about me through Zoom. Like, a lot of you can't tell my height. I'm actually 6'7". I'm also told that number is pronounced 67 in inches, which is 5'7" if you're weird and combining units. My taller friends try to console me about my height. They'll it means a lot to me because I really look up to them. They'll tell me things like, "Jay, you can't let your height keep you down." But that's kind of the whole problem. I've been reading up on there's a lot I actually don't know about my birth, but there is one thing that I know for certain. I know that I am not inbred because I am gluten-free, which means I taste funny and I'm very expensive. I was reading up on some medical news, which has been wild this year. I actually saw that they've been testing hallucinogenics on lab rats, to study, not just for fun. And what they're actually finding is that these drugs are extremely effective at dealing for alcoholism, which is fantastic news that we're another step forward in the fight against alcoholic rats. If you don't know that this is an ongoing problem, you're privileged. That's fine. I was also reading that they've been comparing death trends between this year and 1918, year of the Spanish flu. And had some fella come out and he says, we're seeing similar numbers in death by illness, but what's more concerning are the similar numbers in death by falling pianos. I thought was an issue we solved a while ago. I'm sorry, that one only works if your history is informed by cartoons. Because I think of the early 20th century and I just think of Italian immigrants just pulling up pianos and things beside buildings. And they're Italian, so they grab the rope not the most effectively. And so as they're pulling, eventually the thing slips and flies up and slams down and so on the sidewalk, which is horrifying. Anyway, the other night, my girlfriend caught me late stress eating. I was having my a panic attack snack. I went with sauteed cauliflower and watermelon chunks. Very nutritious. And she found me in the scene and she goes, I think you need to go talk to a professional. You seem depressed. I'm like, depressed? I'm not depressed. I'm happy. Why would I be depressed? I'm plenty happy. And then she goes, Jay, you're eating watermelon chunks and cauliflower. You call that happy? And I go, no, I call it melancholy. I don't mean to get political right now, but I just mean to address a certain section of this country. And I'm just going to put it out there. I think that people who hate puns are bigots. Not to say that, all, pun haters, not to say that all bigots hate puns, all pun haters, bigots. But, there's a group of bigots that love puns. I was hanging out with this bigoted fellow the other day, and he says to me, hey, why do Nazis have milk for breakfast? They hate Jews, which is cute, I thought. And if you groaned at that one and didn't like it, you're a hateful person. Because really, at the end of the day, a pun is just a word that sounds like another word. It's a homophone is what we call that in English. A pun is just a harmless homophone, you bigot. I really don't understand why these people feel the need to come out and be so homophobic. Anyway, that has been my time. Thank you very much. Y'all have been great.
Yeah, very good.
Yes. Oh my God. He really just kind of embodied this club, man. This is just like you're kind of just custom made for the name of this club. But yeah, I will say alcoholic rats is really the endemic that we should all be worried about. So, all right. Well, that was phenomenal. This next comedian is a 5'2" Puerto Rican Jew hailing from New York City. Please welcome Sam Steinberg.
Hi, good evening, everyone. 2020 needs to end. I am literally so happy that it's December, because December is the month of advent calendars, which are those like cute little themed calendars leading up to Christmas, and you like peel back the layer, and each layer is like a piece of chocolate or a piece of candy or cheese. And it's actually kind of weird because my doctor sent me an advent calendar in the other day, and I can't seem to get the theme. Oh, fuck, it's my birth control. Oh, my God. So I was studying abroad in Barcelona before shit hit the fan with coronavirus. And, Barcelona is definitely a place I recommend going to because a liter of water is €2 and a liter of sangria is €1. So, naturally, when I was in Barcelona, I wanted to meet some beautiful Spanish men. So I went on some dating apps and, of course, only matched with Americans. And, the types of guys I go for are typically like above 6 foot, have a nice body, because then it motivates me to go to the gym as well. And I believe the foundation of every great relationship should be deeply rooted in security about body image. I matched with this guy named Clayton. He's like 27. We decide to meet at a bar close to my house. As I'm getting ready, my roommate comes to me and she's like, girl, Corona is really spreading. Just be careful you don't want to catch something. As if the risk of me catching something from a random man I met on the internet isn't already high enough, now I need to worry about a fucking pandemic. So, as I'm leaving the house, I get an email from my accountant with what I think is my tax refund for the year. And to my dismay, he informs me that I actually owe the IRS money. I think it's really interesting because people always talk about, are you going to have sex, on the first date? I haven't even left the house yet and I was already fucked. So, so I start walking to this bar and I'm almost there. I'm around the corner. And one thing I love about Spain is that weed is legal. So to help ease my nerves, I just took a joint out of my purse, lit it up, passed it to the cop next to me, got a little buzz before I walked in. And I turned the corner and I see Clayton standing in front of the bar, and holy fucking shit, my heart literally sinks to my vagina because he is the most attractive person I've ever seen. And we sit down at the bar at this like cute little booth, and I'm so happy the lights are dim, so he can't actually see what I look like, because the less he sees of my face without an Instagram filter, the better. He decides to order some like whiskey on the rocks, and I'm sitting there with an umbrella in my drink, and we get talking as to why he's in Spain, and he told me he just came from an American military base in France and is now traveling abroad in Europe for a few days. And I was like, oh, you're in the military? Like what branch, what division? And he goes, I'm a Navy SEAL, actually. Instantly, I was like, oh my fucking God, tell me every conspiracy theory you know. Are aliens real? Does jet fuel melt steel beams? I know you're a SEAL, but can you still fuck me doggy? The more stories from being a SEAL, the more horny I became. And, good thing SEALs can swim, because at this point, my pussy is soaking wet. And we start walking back to my apartment, and the streets are completely empty. No one is out. And eventually we get to my front door, and my mind tries to sort through every single rom-com I've ever seen to try and come up with something clever to say. And the best that my cross-faded ass can do is upstairs. So I turn away from him and I begin unlocking the door, and then decide to turn back to him and say, you know, if you're a murderer, now's probably the best time to do it. And he laughed. And then I realized, fuck, he's 100% trained to kill people and probably has, not appropriate to say. We go to my apartment, things start heating up, and he whispers to me and says, I love your curves. To which I respond, thanks. It's the scoliosis, actually. As we begin to take our clothes off, I notice he has a unicorn tattoo on his right ass cheek. And this seems to be a theme among some of the men that I've been with. I've seen everything from like pickles to smiley faces. And don't get me wrong, like I totally want like a cool hidden tattoo that no one can see. But unfortunately, I'm a whore on Instagram, so. I truly hope the IRS is listening to this, because if my tax dollars are helping contribute to his body and physique training, then I will happily pay them for the rest of my life. The government is for the state. Now I'm fucking the government. Thank you.
Wow. Oh my God. I think we can all agree that's everyone's conventional experience dating in other countries. I think that's pretty standard. What an interesting story. All right. We're going to keep it moving, guys. You guys have been great. This next comedian is hailing from the mean streets of Bethesda, Maryland. Please put your hands together for Cory Davis.
Yay! Hooray!
So ever since I started like growing out my beard and hair, like people would tell me like, Cory, you look like Charles Manson. And it just got to the point where I was like, okay, that's it. I'm getting rid of my forehead swastika. All of a sudden, I was regretting that decision. It was really, yeah. I think it'd be cool to be like a hoarder, at least until you can't find your EpiPen. Like, in retrospect, I probably shouldn't have hoarded so much peanut butter. Yeah, I've been watching a lot of Seinfeld on watchseinfeld.com recently, and it's a cool website. But there's like a lot of weird ads. There's this one weird ad where there's a picture of a cute girl, and it says, "Would you date a girl like me?" A girl paying to advertise herself on watchseinfeld.com. I'm good. There's another weird ad. It says, "Are you interested in lonely Asian ladies in Ithaca?" And like your kids ask how you met. Well, my mom was lonely and Asian, and I was watching Seinfeld, so we just took off from there. The weirdest ad. One second. Okay, I'm back. My mom was feeding the cats. Yeah. I had to be like, yo, can you not feed the cats right now? I don't need it. Yeah, it's to me right now. Okay, so as I was saying, there was this last weird ad, and it was an anime girl, and it said, "This game will make you forget to eat breakfast." So, like, this game will make you miss the most important meal of the day. And I was just wondering what other important things this game could make you miss.
Benjamin.
This game could make you forget to pay taxes. Make you forget your kids at soccer practice. I think rabbits got it all figured out, considering how much those guys get laid. Thing is, it's scary being a rabbit though, because like you knock someone up, all of a sudden you're having 14 kids.
Yeah.
Yeah,
One kid.
I just call up Elmer Fudd. Like you're not gonna see me on Rabbit Maury, paying child support in carrots. Like if I was a rabbit having sex, I would tell her to pretend it's Easter and hide her eggs. Yeah, it's weird. Like people always say like people are fucking like rabbits. You never see rabbits fucking like people.
That was good.
But I mean, like infrequently and sometimes cry after. Yeah, that rabbit's fucking like Cory. I bought a large knife, and I was really the thing is like I was really excited about. But the thing about owning a large knife is no matter how excited you are about owning a large knife, no one else is excited that you own a large knife. It was weird. It was large too, because there's not that many things you can do with a large knife that you can't do with a small knife. Like the only situation that helps is if you're in a room full of dudes with small knives, because then you're the alpha. Yeah, I'm not a fan of pharmaceutical commercials. You always see like these weird side effects. I saw one where the side effects were stroke, erectile dysfunction, and bleeding. Now, two of those are pretty self-explanatory. Bleeding's a little vague for me. Like where? Could you imagine if other side effects were that vague? Like your doctor's just like, yeah, I have to warn you. One of the side effects of this drug is dysfunction. You know where I'll be dysfuncting? Nah, just. I have a few more questions. Like, do you have to be awake to bleed? Not what they mean by wet dream. At least you could tell where you went when you sleepwalked. Looks like I went to my kitchen and put down a wet floor sign. I haven't bled like this since I got my. Okay, that's all for me. Thank you.
Yeah. I really love the person who, when he said people aren't like fucking like rabbits, just someone was audibly like, "Oh, that was good." I don't know who said it. There's too many people on this call for me to find this person, but like whoever you are, you're gonna be like immortalized in this video for no reason. So congrats to you. All right, that was phenomenal. Thank you, Cory. All right. This next comedian is hailing from Greenwich, Connecticut, and respectfully changed out of his Vineyard Vines shirt for this show. Please welcome Matthew Hein.
Yeah, this is my first time doing stand-up, and I'm really hoping this goes nothing like my first time having sex, or I'll only last about 10 seconds or two. If that does happen, I really don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm really hoping this time I have a plan B. I think iPhones are my generation's version of opioids. Like they're addictive, they cause depression, and kids are always trying to steal mine. But even worse than that is social media. Like that just kills my faith in humanity. The other day, just before the election, I saw this post and it said, "A vote for Trump is a vote against Broadway." And all I have to say about that is if you consider Phantom of the Opera an important political opinion in 2020, you can go fuck yourself. It's not even white privilege. That's just like Upper East Side privilege. past this other post. It was from the U.S. Army. I don't follow them. It was like an ad. Only two kinds of people actually follow the U.S. Army, and that's the soldiers themselves or ISIS trying to catfish them. Like, you'd be surprised how many influencers suddenly live in Aleppo on a July. The post I saw depicted like soldiers wearing masks, and I had the caption, "We're in this together. Do your part." I have two comments on this. First, we're not in this together. Like, you're staying healthy so you can fight terrorists. I'm staying healthy so I don't accidentally kill my grandma. Also, like, we don't care about COVID in Florida. Like, why do we pretend we care about it in Syria? I don't think Fauci really gave raiding Taliban villages the green light. Yeah, the very next post I saw was like a classic grandparent death tribute. Like, you all know what I'm talking about. I'm sorry, though. I'm just going to say it. I think grandparents dying is incredibly overhyped. Like, if your racist grandpa that you saw twice a year goes out at 90, like, you're not allowed to say you've been through some shit. What you could tell me about him is that, like, he loved puzzles, fought in World War II, and was a Nazi. Yeah, clearly social media sucks, but honestly, it's not like real life people are much better. The other day I was flirting with this girl, and feminists may try and cancel me because I didn't call her a woman, but joke's on them because she was 13. I was super interested in her name. It sounded very German, like so German that as a Jew, I was always looking for an escape route when I was talking to her. But here's the problem. She told me her name was Native American. And whenever a white girl tells you this, fun fact, an oil pipeline magically appears on indigenous land. I guess I can't confirm she's not Native American. You know, I really hope she is, because as whites, we've just taken so much from these people, you know, land, culture, Elizabeth Warren. And I would really hate to also say we're taking their names. I learned that Native Americans suffer from poor health care. I'm also a victim of that. See, when I was born, I had to get surgery, and the doctor left me with some pretty gnarly scars. And I would try and lie and say I like fought off a bear to save a child, but they just look too strange. Like, they're more along the lines of like my mom smoked a pack a day when I was in the womb. Like if you saw me shirtless, you'd think I vacationed in Chernobyl. You know, I learned this year that the doctor operating me was doing it for the very first time. And like, don't get me wrong, it's an honor to be someone's first, but not when it involves getting cut open. Like, that's a little too crude for me. To be fair, you know, he was shadowing like a real experienced doctor, but I'm still not convinced. Think about it like driving school. You know, the new student has the wheel, and like the instructor that hates his life is sitting passenger. You know, everything should be fine, but would you want that kid who just got his permit being your ambulance driver? Probably not. You know, from a business standpoint, like part of me respects the hell out of this doctor, because doctors have to like advertise themselves and the number of successful operations they performed. So I don't know how this guy sold himself to my parents. Like, maybe he had some sort of grand opening discount, or he like gave my dad a free colonoscopy. Yeah, I think as humans really need to appreciate like these shitty moments we were too young to remember. And you know, above all, I thank my younger self for taking the hit on circumcision. My brother has a friend that got circumcised when he was 12. I have no idea why this happened or how. Maybe it was medical. Maybe he was just a Scientologist. The point is, like, I can't think of a worse age to get circumcised than when you're just discovering porn. This kid must be so pro-Palestine, but for the most unconventional reasons. That's my time. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Wow. Guys, please don't cancel him. That was phenomenal. Also, that lasted well over 10 seconds, so well done. You exceeded your expectations. And no one said that was good this time, but because most of the laughs I heard were laughs of terror, but it doesn't matter. It was a great set. We will move on to our next comic. This next comedian is hailing all the way from hell itself. I mean, New Jersey. Please put your hands together for Cassie Gologorsky.
So I'm a runner, and when people learn this about me, you know, they kind of give me this look, you know, kind of like they're constipated or concerned about politics. You all know that look, but it's kind of the same look. And then they say something, you know, insightful or interesting to continue the conversation, like, wow, I hate running. And then they kind of give me this other look, like they expect me to defend myself. And I always say something like, wow, no way, me too. I also hate running. That's crazy. And then that really throws them off. You know, you can see like their brain buffering a little bit. Works great at parties. But the thing is, runners hate running. You know, this is a common feeling among runners. You know, the fact that we all hate this thing that we choose to invest time and money into. And I think the reason a lot of non-runners don't really understand this is kind of because of the way that the media shows runners. And because obviously the worst thing the media is doing right now is stereotyping runners. I mean, we've got to get on this, you guys. It's dividing our nation in two like nothing else has before. Like, I can't think of anything more important right now. Okay, that was a little bit gimme. But you know, you've all seen commercials for running shoes. You know, the super fit person wakes up at 6 a.m. to do like yoga in front of the sunrise, in front of their personal lake. And then they go for an 8-mile run through what appears to be a Windows background photo. And then they come back and they make a matcha organic paleo smoothie with chia seeds that they fucking shoot up into their veins. And for the record, the CDC has officially come out and said this won't cure COVID, so. But this perception of runners is just complete bullshit, you know? It's completely wrong, and this is not really how runners live, you know? Like, I want a commercial on the opposite end of the spectrum, you know? Like, I want a commercial where this person wakes up at noon and they're hungover as shit, you know? Like, they trip over their cat, like, they stumble into the kitchen, you know, squinting into the light like they're seeing God. They grab a Pop-Tart, you know, then just start shuffling down the street, you know, with this ragged, like, wounded soldier breathing, like, you know, parents are, like, pulling their children closer out of concern. You know, and then they come back and they lay on the floor and they're just, like, groaning in visceral pain, you know, every muscle is aching in their body. You can hear, like, the Saving Private Ryan, like, war music playing in the background. And then, of course, over this dying person, we get product placement. Nike, just do it. Effects of running may include nausea, fatigue, dizziness, disorientation, muscle pain, depression, existential realization that we're all going to die one day, and you've just spent hours of your life running in circles. Okay, and that's the thing. That's the thing. Most people I know who are runners have been in this situation before. Like, yes, the existential crisis, but also just forcing themselves to put on their shoes and run. And, you know, it's interesting because a large part of the running community is, like, centered around alcoholism. But again, the media is so busy stereotyping runners as these kale worshiping optimists that, you know, like, living that kind of lifestyle is not why most people run. You know, let me kind of explain it. So let me give you a second commercial. So imagine, you know, same fitness woman from the first commercial wakes up at 6 a.m. to make her matcha crack latte, and she spills it all over herself. And she's like, crap. So she cleans it up really quickly, but then she misses her bus and she's late to work, spends all day working on this report, and just near the end of the day, her boss comes in and tells her she's done it wrong. And so now she's super frustrated, goes home early to try to cut herself some slack, and finds out her husband's cheating on her. You guys, this woman, she's hurt, she's upset, she grabs her sneakers, camera completely ignores her pain and just zooms in on the sneakers in the true spirit of homegrown American consumerism, and she goes for a run. And suddenly, her head clears. You know, it's just her and the road, and she feels better now that she's away from everything. And honestly, to me, that's what running is. You know, running has taught me that the best way to handle your problems is to just run away from them. And then disguise your procrastination as a healthy lifestyle choice. But you know, in the commercial, you know, this woman realizes that, you know, she realizes she's strong enough to handle everything going wrong. She just needed a moment away to figure it out. So, you know, she comes back, she makes a new matcha latte, kills her cheating son of a bitch husband, throws her blood-soaked hands in horror, packs a suitcase, leaves the house, gets a fake ID, burns off her fingerprints, spends the next 6 months in and out of hotels just avoiding the authorities, killing anyone who gets in her way. And then, in the last scene, you know, you see her running from the police, camera pans down to her blood-soaked running shoes, Reebok. don't fuck with us. Guys, you've been wonderful. Enjoy the rest of the show.
Yeah, that is in fact Reebok's slogan. I can confirm, having run before, that it fucking sucks. And anyone who likes it is psychotic and sociopathic. So that's what I'll leave you guys with. We got our next comic up. This next comedian is a member of the Whistling Shrimp, Cornell's oldest improv comedy group, and he's also not wearing any pants. Please put your hands together for Ryan Leung.
Woo! Thanks, Skyler. That's right. I'm not wearing pants.
Yay, Ryan!
Thank you.
Yay,
Not wearing pants, and I'm not going to prove it. Anyways, welcome to Pun Intended News. I am your host, Ryan Leung, and let's get straight to tonight's top stories. Pope Francis made headlines last week after his official Instagram account liked this picture by a Brazilian model. You know, I don't understand why he's getting so much shit for liking a picture. I mean, that ass is way better than the ass the other priests have been double tapping. A group of newly elected Republican congresswomen have formed an alliance called the Freedom Force, which vows to be the GOP's version of the Squad. The Freedom Force or the Squad? Who will win? Find out when the WNBA season kicks off in May. A hospital in Texas has successfully performed a 10-person kidney swap. This complex procedure is better known by its medical term, organ harvesting. Several managers at a Tyson meatpacking plant have been suspended for allegedly placing bets on which of their employees would contract coronavirus. The heavy favorite was Earl, an elderly, immunocompromised, diabetic, asthmatic, double amputee who survived lung cancer but was just diagnosed with AIDS. Director Spike Lee has announced that he is working on producing a movie musical about Viagra. The opening number, he said, would be called Defying Gravity. That felt pretty nice.
Yeah.
President-elect Joe Biden has announced that his administration will feature an all-female communications team. So buckle up, because we're in for a lot of mixed messages. Sarah, what do you mean President-elect Biden was mad about the Senate vote? I thought you said he didn't care. Oh, Denise, he does? And how was I supposed to know that, Denise? He said it with his eyes? Are you joking, Lily? Waffle House has announced that it will release its first ever bacon-flavored beer. This comes as joyous news to exactly 0 Muslims. The U.S. military is reportedly investing millions of dollars into developing mind-reading technology to interrogate terrorists. Well, that takes all the fun out of it, huh? Said Dick Cheney. National treasure.
Yeah.
Residents of the small Austrian village Fucking, real town, have voted to change its name. This coming after the village witnessed a rise in unwanted tourism. Unfortunately, their new name isn't much better. Monday marked National Meth Awareness Day, or as Walter White calls it, Monday. A library in Michigan is pleading with a group of its patrons to stop disinfecting their books by microwaving them. Said the patients, 9.
Oh, no.
All right, and now time for a segment that I like to call A Joke I Wrote in July that hasn't exactly aged too well. This should be fun. Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, too soon, was released from the hospital last week after being treated for an infection. This prompted the premature release of her second autobiographical film, No Time to Die. Yeah, it came out a little late. All right, and that's our time for tonight. For Pun Intended News, I'm Ryan Leung. Good night.
Oh
Oh my God. So yeah, I'm sure everyone expected to hear 2 RPG jokes in this. I also heard someone after his priest joke say "ouch." My question: were you the same person that said, "Oh, that's good"? With the other joke, I'm really wondering. Okay, but I'm not going to try and find
Roman
these.
Catholics.
What? What'd you say?
Don't pick on the priest.
Great. Great commentary. So we're going to move on to our next comedian. Despite not speaking a lick of Spanish, hailing all the way from Miami, we have someone with 2 first names. Please welcome Joanna LaTorre.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. So, I know what you're thinking. She's 50% Colombian, but I'm an optimist, so I'm actually 50% white. Much Spanish, though, which means I get shat on by both sides for being too much of the other, depending on who I'm with. Conversations with my abuela were usually just us staring at each other when I was a kid. She did teach me, though, to be kind, hardworking, and incredibly superficial. For example, every time I saw her, she'd just make sure my hair and nails were well done and then give me accessories if I passed her test. Naturally, as the youngest child, this made me extremely overly confident at an early age. For example, my first career goal was to be a 5'9" supermodel. Before I understood genetics, I ate certain foods, did the stretches, and even went to a modeling camp. But I have bizarre parents, so here's how spoiled I was without even realizing. One day, I ate right out of my dad's ice cream container before camp. He finds out, needs to punish me, and so rather than give me like a punishment like apologize, buy me a new one, I was forced to sit there and finish this entire container of ice cream. So in case you're wondering what that did to me, I have a picture.
No.
Of course I had a meltdown, pun intended, because I thought my career was over at age 9. Skipping class to get fat? My God. Also, have you ever seen a child cry while eating ice cream? I didn't have Ben and Jerry's for years after that. The modeling career was also only as long as my maximum height potential, which, by the way, is 5'2". Speaking of pictures, by the way, who else had terrible prom photos? Just standing there super awkwardly next to your date who looks mortified. Now imagine the typical overprotective father who pulls out the friendly rifle and takes cheesy pictures pretending to scare his daughter's date. Now imagine he's Italian. So they don't do that. They mean business, okay? So here's what happened at my house. My dad was like, hey, how tall are you? And he pulls out a tape measure, I can't make this up, and measures my date. He's my date, like, 5'11", sir? And my dad goes, good, because there's a 6-foot body bag in the closet waiting for you. My dad measured a date for a body bag and then tells him we have family in the mafia. Guys, we don't have family in the mafia. They're just family friends. What made our mafia different from others, like the Capones, who, by the way, are nice people? My ancestors were more like the smart banking ones. So they just carried like a suitcase for the capo regimes and followed the money. This kind of runs in the family, still the money aspect, since I'm trying to work on Wall Street. But anyway, prom was okay. For some reason, my date moved away shortly after. He was never gonna last, though, since Italian parents insist on 2 things, date Italians and don't date the French. I didn't date again until my freshman year of college, which is the best time to write. I still remember actually my first date at Cornell when my overprotective mother decided to join me. She didn't understand that I only needed a ride, and by that I mean drive there. So with being Colombian, we Hispanics tend to travel in packs. But I did fall hard that night, not for him, but through the seat at the restaurant. The night got better though, but I'm also a bitch, so I ghosted him. Or at least I like to think I did. In case you're curious, I haven't dated Italians and actually came home from studying abroad in Italy with a French boyfriend. My parents did not know how to handle that, so I'll end with, speaking of handles, my Instagram name, which is Joanna Pink. Please follow. Before you ask, my last name is not Pink. Reminisce with me for a second on Webkinz Club Penguin days. My username for these was Joanna Pink, and when Instagram came out, I wanted to carry this tradition. Unfortunately, a nice young mom already had the name, so naturally, I learned to hack at age 10, stole her name, gave it to myself, and yeah, we love a woman. So yeah, I live in Guild today, so I'm never changing it. But my real last name is LaTorre, which means the tower, but I'm an optimist, so to colleges and potential employers, I just say LaTorre. Remind every second of my life that I'm actually 5'2". Thanks.
Great work. I'm really realizing Zoom is honestly the best format for people who just like hate their height. Like this is ideal for everyone in this show who has mentioned their height so far. This is like the best case scenario. So congrats to you all. All right. We got a few more comics coming up. Guys, stay till the end. There's 134 of you left. Guys, stay till the end. I promise you. We got 3 great comics coming up. This next comedian is hailing from Westchester. No, the other Westchester, which you'll understand if you're from one of the Westchesters. Please give it up for Peter Ford.
Hey, so glad to see so many faces and a lot more muted videos. I truly feel like my stats professor right now. With this pandemic going on, for me, it cut off my study abroad period. I was studying in Australia, and while it left me with so many unanswered questions, there's one that has been nagging at me this whole time, which is, you know, as an American, I'm very used to the whole like anti-communist stuff. It's kind of ingrained in our culture. It's like from the Cold War and whatnot. So it was very strange going to Australia. And then there was Marxist clubs. You know, there was, you know, the Sydney's Workers Union. There was, you know, the Socialist Alternative. And meanwhile, I'm just wondering why there are so many different clubs that are all Marxist, because I thought the whole point of the movement is that the workers are supposed to unite. So I don't understand the factional differences between the left-handed Marxists versus the theater Marxists. Unfortunately, I never got to attend any of the club meetings before COVID hit. You know, and when COVID hit, I was left very much alone. All of my friends went home, and so I ended up, you know, with a lot of time for introspection. I think I've changed a lot as a person. I used to be very massively introverted, and I've become a lot more extroverted. And it's due to the discovery that I am fucking boring. Just to express just how boring I am, to express how boring I am, I've had several dreams in the last month where I have mentioned in a conversation that Gnarls Barkley's St. Elsewhere is an underrated album. I haven't listened to this album in years, and yet apparently it is vital to my psyche that I express on a regular basis that Gnarls Barkley's St. Elsewhere is my 9th favorite album of all time. So when you're as, you know, boring as me and you don't have much to do, you know, a lot of guys did this during quarantine was they grew out a beard. And unfortunately for me, I don't look very good with a beard. I look like the Unabomber. So I scrapped that pretty quickly. So instead, after I came home to the States, I ended up shaving my head completely bald because my dad is bald, and, you know, I have a lot of anxiety about balding. So I just said, fuck it, go for it. And it really helped with my anxiety about balding, you know? And so, but I think that learning that just facing my fears like that, I think that learning that I can do that was a bad lesson, because, you know, I think that now if I find out that I'm going to be a father, I'm going to, you know, get a mannequin, go to the nearest freeway, and just the next semi that comes along, just sure, kiddo, you can play in the street. It's fine. Fortunately, I don't really have to worry too much about, you know, becoming a father, because I am very unsuccessful on Tinder. However, I am getting better, and it's all due to the fact that while I was in Australia, I took a lot of photos of myself with koalas. And so those are all over my Tinder, because the koala is the spirit animal of Tinder. You know, because nothing screams Tinder more than an animal that says, I'm cute, I'm cuddly, and I might give you chlamydia. And on that note, if you guys want to slide into my DMs, you can follow me on Instagram at Pete__Ford, because a name so generic, I can never get my name anywhere. Thank you all. You've been a wonderful audience.
Yeah. Wow, that's a great pitch. Mention chlamydia and then get a bunch of followers. It's absolutely brilliant. I'm just looking through the Zoom call real quick. Anyone else think Saint Elsewhere is the 9th best album? No. All right. Consensus. Great. All right. We got a couple more. We got a couple more comedians coming up. This next comedian is hailing from Fayetteville, New York, lovingly referred to by other New Yorkers as Where. Please put your hands together for Flavia Scott.
I love Flavia.
So I'm an atheist, which means that I'm right but depressed. And for a while, I dated this super devout, like capital C Catholic. Like this guy was so religious that he would pray every night. And when he prayed, he thought he heard things back. And I always wondered, you know how we all have that little voice in our head? Does he think that his is God? Honestly, I'm genuinely impressed if he does, because that means that his is wise enough to be mistaken for a divine being. Like, I know that mine has much more of like a suburban mom on her 3rd pina colada kind of vibe going on. like it's a little annoying, but listening to it is the only thing getting me through this barbecue. But we were texting late one night, and he tells me that he can get me logically to believe in a God. So I'm like, all right, Scalia, show me what you got. So we exchange about 100 of like those intimidating paragraph texts. Like at this point, I'm starting to wonder if this relationship is just a clever ruse to get me to read more. And we're nearing the end, and I think we're at like the furnace of creation by this point. And he rolls out his big finale, which is, and I quote, "And that, Flavia, is a leap of faith." Leap of faith? That's what I waited for? No, that is an hour of my life I am never getting back. I could have been 11 BuzzFeed quizzes deep by now. Are you kidding me? But I started thinking about it, and I realized that to him, his faith, that's what makes heaven such a big payoff. Like, he has to see all of the terrible, horrible things in this world, the worst parts of humanity, wars, genocides, Target on a Sunday, and still believe that there's a point to all of it. And while I absolutely do not understand it, I do think there's something really beautiful about that, which is a difference I probably should have specified before we showed up to his church on Sunday. I thought we were going to Denny's, so Father, Son, and Holy Spirit was not the 3-for-1 special that I was expecting. But anyways, what
the problem with that relationship was that there were a lot of other reasons that we shouldn't have been together. He didn't like things that were important to me, like dogs or music or women with opinions or having to wear sunglasses at night. So what I started to realize about a relationship like that is that it's a lot like constipation. You know, like something's not right. You're vaguely uncomfortable. You want to ask for advice, but you're not sure if people will look at you differently. And at some point, you really do just have to let it go.
Yes, all right. Wow, shockingly ending on diarrhea. So we've now gone back-to-back chlamydia and diarrhea, or constipation, or whatever you want to call it. Also, it should hopefully come for you guys to know if you laughed at any of her jokes, you are an atheist. So that's great for all you guys. Okay, guys, this is our final comedian. Thank you to all who stayed through. Our final comedian is a senior currently recovering from a major surgery. His doctor is forcing him to rest all day, so he hopes to innovate lie-down comedy. Without further ado, our last comic, our headliner, is Sasha Frolov.
Thank you. Thanks. I'm really lying down on the couch right now. I cannot sit up. I go on Tinder in Ithaca sometimes. A lot of women on there write that they are a pet person in their Tinder bios. That's really confusing to me because I feel like a pet person is really just a slave if you think about it. You know, I wasn't always ogling women on Tinder. Like a lot of people thought I was gay as a kid, but it was always for really weird reasons. Like every year as a kid, I had to go to the pediatrician and he had to ask me what my sexuality was for his chart. And I was really awkward, and like my pediatrician was this weird old dude, and like my mom was always in the room, so I never said anything to him. And so my pediatrician was convinced I was gay because I never said anything to him, and he kept trying to like beat it out of me. I don't mean like beat me until I'm not gay. I mean like try to get me to say it. And he would try all this crazy stuff to get me to admit I'm gay. Like at one point he told me, "Oh, you know, you can just tell me somebody you're attracted to, and we can go from there." And then this time my mom chimed in and said, "Hey, yeah, come on, tell him, Sasha." And just quick parenting advice that made the whole situation so awkward I was physically unable to talk. But I feel like I could have also made his job a lot harder if I just said some really androgynous name like Shamrock Jones, and then he'd be sitting in his doctor's office afterwards just trying to figure out what gender somebody named Shamrock is. And I mean, this guy wanted to know if I was gay so hard. He was kept trying to get it out of me. You know, in hindsight, I wonder if he was like inspecting my balls for irregularities and kept trying to check if I was enjoying it secretly. And like when and a few years later, he was getting really frustrated with me. So he just straight up said, you know, Sasha, a lot of kids have come out as gay to me at these appointments. So you know that's totally fine. And I mean, first of all, like who comes out as gay during a pediatrician's appointment? Like imagine the doctor's about to hit your imagine the doctor is hitting your knee with a hammer and you're like, "Man, this is the time for me to speak my truth." I mean, like, and he said a few gay kids came out to him during this appointment, so I wonder if he's keeping track of the gay kids. Like, he could probably run his own little version of, like, Pediatrician Grinder on the side if he wanted to. And it's also so messed up. I feel like he did not have the permission of the gay kids to use them to pressure me to come out as gay, because I feel like they're definitely not fine with that. And also, I feel like some of these gay kids, they're probably not even gay. And that sounds really bad, but I mean, like, because he was pressuring me so hard to come out as gay, there must have been other kids who were straight and like he was pressuring to come out as gay, and some of them were probably like, "Fine, I'm gay. Are you gonna stop now?" That sounds like such a terrible job, like pressuring kids to come out as gay for you. Like my dream job, I want to work as like a plumber. I want to work as a plumber at like a geothermal hot springs resort. I feel like people would come up to me and complain like, "Oh, the water here is really yellow and it smells bad," and I tell them, "No, it's supposed to be like that."
I don't get that.
You know when you move into a new apartment and you get the old person's mail for a few weeks? That's like my least favorite thing. At my last apartment, the first mail I got, like a letter, not like a guy. A bunch of stuff. It was a bunch of mail from the DMV, and it said, hey, you need to renew your driver's license right now, or else you will lose it. And the guy who it was to did not leave a forwarding address with the landlord, so I just left it in a pile on my kitchen table, and I kept getting stressed out about it. I was thinking, like, man, this guy is gonna be huge. He's really mad. He's gonna come beat me up and rob me and get his DMV paperwork back. And then I thought about it some more, and I thought, man, I am screwed as soon as this guy finishes biking up the hill to my apartment. And like, this guy also got a ton of advertising from the Audi dealership sent to my apartment. And I feel like the Audi company would not have sent him all this advertising if they knew that his driver's license was in absolute shambles right now. And then my current apartment is even worse. The first mail I got in the letter, the first letter I got in the mail was this magazine called the Quarterly Bulletin of the American Institute for Gravestone Studies. And it was this giant magazine with a bunch of pictures of gravestones and then things written about them. And this is a terrifying thing to receive in the mail. I mean, like, I keep reading about how, magazines and medical journals are going out of business. So it's so confusing to me that a magazine about gravestones can publish 4 times a year. I mean, right? Like, who's paying them? Gravestones are literally a dying business. Pun intended. I'm also terrified of, I really wanted to give the magazine back to the girl who was originally sent to, but she also didn't give a forwarding address. And I'm really terrified of her, whatever weird goth girl reads this magazine. I feel like she could kill me, and she would totally get away with it. It would be the perfect crime, right? She could kill me, and then she could nab the contract for my gravestone. So she'd be directly profiting off of my murder. And then, right, and then afterwards, if she does a really good job with the gravestone, then she can make the front page of the Gravestone Quarterly. And then her career in gravestones would be sent to superstardom. She'd make a ton more money. And then my family would be so touched by the gravestone that she made for me that they would not investigate the suspicious circumstances of my death. And then she'd totally get away with it. So scary, man. So anyway, you guys have been great. Thank you so much. Have a great night.
That was great. Hey guys, pediatrician grinder coming to an app store near you. So if anyone wants to take that up, you'll be the first one. So guys, that was our show. Please give it up for everyone performing. Give it up. Oh my God. A Zoom performance. That's absurd. Don't go yet. Don't go just yet. Don't leave. Real quick, I have a couple people to thank. I want to thank Sadie Ribnitsky and Joanna LaTorre for helping with the marketing, because I don't know if you guys saw, but we marketed the absolute shit out of this show. Hopefully we threw it in your faces enough. But I want to thank them for helping so much. Sadie and Joanna, you guys have been amazing. And the last couple things. One, I want to plug, if you like anything I said, you can follow me on Instagram or Twitter at Croton Sky. But also, more importantly, go follow us at Pun Intended Cornell on Instagram. That's our Instagram account. You can find us on Facebook at Pun Intended Stand Up Comedy. For some reason, we have a LinkedIn, so you can find us there. And you can also email us at cornellpunintended@gmail.com. That is everything I think I needed to plug. You guys have been a wonderful, phenomenal audience. Thank you so much for coming. Made my night, hopefully made everyone else's. Hope you guys enjoyed, and we will be doing more shows next semester. So please keep an eye out and tell your friends that we killed it objectively, even if you didn't think so. Thank you guys so much. You guys have been amazing. Thank you guys.
Good job, Skyler.
Thanks, Skyler.
Thanks, guys. Y'all are free to go.